Welcome back. It's now to talk about sleep. I kind of like the topic, sleep. That's why my colleague set me up to say I have to talk about this. Well, let's see how that simulation plays out. But before I talk about simulating, let's meet the expert who will guide us on how important sleep is. It's not a popular conversation, but when you look at the level of exposure or predisposition to health issues, then you know how fundamental it is and why nature actually provided for sleep, which is why these experts will help us break it down and explain to us how it should work and what we should do. Dr. Olajide Obembe is a consultant psychiatrist and head of sleep disorder unit from the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Yaba in Lagos. He joins us via Zoom. Doctor, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
How well did you sleep last night, doctor?
Very well. Very well. I had enough sleep to get me rested, feel rested this morning. I feel very refreshed to carry on the day activities.
Okay, so let's start with a very basic question because there are layers to this conversation. So let's start with the basics. How important is sleep?
Yes, sleep is very important in human life. Not just human, in every living organism. Sleep is very important. So sleep, well, we can look at sleep as maybe one of there are three major things we need for our good health. One is sleep, another one is good nutrition, then the other one is exercise. So all these three coming together can keep us fit, can help us with our health. Sleep affects every organ in our body, every cells in our body. So when we don't have enough sleep, even when the person as an individual is really not feeling it much, there are some parts of the body that are already going through some stress, and they are already reacting to it. So sleep is very important. It affects the well-being of all the organs in our body, all the system, all the cells in our body.
Doc, I'm going to a very important part of the conversation. I'm not even going to begin to talk about the economic situation right now. There's a challenge that some Nigerians, a lot of Nigerians have to go through, particularly for those who live in areas that are poorly planned. That's noise pollution. So in an area that's supposed to be a residential one, you find schools there, you find churches there, you find mosques there, and individuals there. I wonder if they are getting enough sleep, or have they become immune to the noise pollution around?
Yes, it's possible some people may adjust and be able to cope with this situation. But the truth of the matter is that there are, for us to have a good sleep, there are some basic principles that needs to be observed. So if the noise is so disturbing, the environmental condition like heat, you understand, all these things can make it difficult for an individual to have a refreshing sleep. So such individuals in the morning, even though they feel they had some level of sleep in the night, in the morning they don't feel so satisfied. Because one of the important principle that guides the quality of our sleep is the issue of timing. The time we sleep, the time we wake up, then the regularity of that timing. But all these circumstances you raised, the issue of noise pollution, heat, and some other non-conducive environmental factors can affect these principles, the principle of having your regular sleep, keeping to a particular time for your sleep, and then sleeping for a quality amount of duration. So it can impact negatively on sleep health and general health of an individual.
Okay, Dr. Obembe, aside the fact that I'm really enjoying the visuals that we're seeing on the screen as we're conversing with you, it's refreshing to see people trying to sleep, you know. But, you know, And the person we saw there was not actually finding it funny to sleep because of the heat. You could see the person twisting and turning, trying to find a good position and all of that. Even though the cover cloth was on again, I think you just take off the cover cloth so you can sleep. But speak to us about what is proper sleep. How long should we sleep for? I know it's been a debate. Some say if you sleep 8 hours daily, you slept like
your destiny away.
You've slept your destiny away. But still, medical practitioners say this is the amount of sleep you need to get. I don't know if we'll be able to legislate this, but let's have this on record. What is enough sleep?
Yes, enough sleep. We look at that question. I can address it in various ways. Enough sleep, we can address it in terms of duration. Like when we say, okay, the normal duration of sleep is 6 to 8 hours, some say 7 to 9 hours, you understand? But on the average, 7 to 8 hours is okay. So we can look at the duration. Then also the enough sleep will also mean that how we feel after when we wake up in the morning. Do we feel satisfied? Do we feel refreshed? Then enough sleep will also mean that how active we are able, how much we are able to keep alert during the day. Because if you sleep for 7 hours in the night and during the day you still have to be struggling, taking coffee to keep yourself awake, then the sleep is not enough. Even if you have 9 hours at night and during the day you feel drowsy, you have to keep consuming coffee to keep yourself awake, the sleep is not good enough. You could have slept for 6 hours and then during the day you feel fully awake, fully alert, you feel you have your enough energy to carry on during the day, then you have enough sleep. So we look at the quality of sleep, whether the sleep is good to help you achieve all these things, your ability to do your work, your emotional regulation, your energy level. So all these things come together. It's not just a matter of I slept for 9 hours. But on the average, when you look at the duration, 6, 8, 9 hours is okay.
Wow.
Go ahead. 9 hours, Doc?
9 hours. Doc, we live in Lagos. 9 hours is a luxury that I don't know. So what is the minimum?
Yes,
what is the minimum?
Yes, the minimum, like that was I put the 6. But the truth of the matter is that we have different natures. You know, when we talk about in science, in biological science, when we say, okay, this is the standard, what it means is that is the average in a population study. So what it means is that there are actually people who can do effectively well with 5 hours. This kind of people may not be able to, there are some people that also need up to 8 hours. So people who need 8 hours, if they copy people who only sleep for 5 hours, they won't be able to function very well. So that's why it's an average. There are some people, because of their makeup, because of the work they do, they may need up to 9 hours in a day. Or we can put it on the average between 6 to 8, 9 hours.
Doc, let's, as I said, there are layers to it. Let's talk about snoring and sleeping. And how well do you think people who snore actually sleep? I think that's my direct question. Are they really sleeping well, or there should be a concern, or is nothing to worry about? Or is it a result of tiredness, or is nature? What exactly is going on with all of that mixed bag before we talk about other sleep disorder?
Okay. Yes, snoring during sleep, that is one of the symptoms of what we call the obstructive sleep apnea. So there is an apnea going on in the night, and then the person is not able to breathe well. So snoring sound is actually from an individual trying to push air through a narrowed pipe. That's the airway. So as the person is falling asleep, the airway is like closing up. So the person is forcing the air through that airway that is closing up, and that's what gives the snoring sound. Now, what it means is that the individual is not getting enough oxygen into the body during sleep. And because of this, one, the brain is not really getting refreshed from the sleep as a result of deficient oxygen. Then also, at some point, the individual, the obstruction could be so strong that the breathing stops momentarily. Then when this happens, the person wakes up. There is something we call arousal. The person can be having a lot of arousal without even waking up fully conscious. Or the person is waking up, but is still sleeping. So the sleep is fragmented. And because of this, the sleep is not refreshing. So that person, if such an individual even sleeps for like 9 hours in the night, the person may likely wake up with headache, feeling as if he had not had enough sleep, and then the person feels drowsy throughout the day, struggling to do carry out his daily activity. Then apart from that, sleep apnea can also affect some other organs in the body. It can predispose to heart problems. It can lead to hypertension. It can lead to obesity. It can even affect the sugar metabolism in the body. It can affect everything in the body. So most of the time, I receive referrals from cardiologists sending patients for sleep study because they suspected sleep apnea. So some people with sleep apnea, the first point of call may be at the cardiologist clinic because they go there because of their raised blood pressure. So while the cardiologist is carrying out his own routine assessment, then you may find out that, oh, this could be the problem. Then they are sent to sleep clinic for consultation and further review.
Well, Doc, you have a question from one of our viewers, and they're asking, sleeping during the night and day, which one is more helpful and refreshing? That's from James.
Yes, sleeping, that was why initially, I talk about timing of sleep. The best timing of sleep is in the night. Because like I said, sleeping, the sleep we have affects all the cells in our body. So the way we are created is that you as a whole, as a human, you know that this is day, this is night. And also the organs in our body also know that this is day, this is night. So there are some hormones that body secretes during the day. There are some in the night. There are some early in the morning. There are some late in the evening. So all these hormones perform different functions in our body. So because of it, the best time for sleep is sleep in the night.
That's interesting because you have people who work during the night and sleep during the day. I mean, in other climes, you have people who work as perhaps as security guards, who work, maybe at data centers where they have to man data all through the night. Even you, doctor, as a physician, you have to work overnight and sleep during the day. So what happens to those people? And some of them do this consistently. They do this every day. Work at night, sleep at day. What happens to them?
Yes, these people, most of the time, the organizations they work with, they are also aware of this impact on their on their overall health. So there is a way they are compensated. You understand? So there is actually a sleep disorder known as the night shift sleep disorder, because the way we sleep, the time we sleep, everything is controlled by two forces. The first force is what we call the sleep pressure. Sleep pressure, what it means is that, okay, you have been away for so number of hours, then the sleep will be so heavy on you, you have to fall asleep. That's one. The second one is what we call the circadian rhythm, which is like a biological clock in the body. So when we have night shift sleep disorder, what it means is that the person, because of night shift, then the sleep gets disrupted. Yes, I know there are people that work in the night and sleep during the day, but there is a way they make compensation for that. Then also, it also depends on how it is planned. A situation where an individual will have a work at night today, then sleep during the day tomorrow, then after 2 days, night again, that is alternated very swiftly like that, affects the health a lot of time. So I've seen I've seen some people in my clinic that the source of the problem is because of that shift.
So what happens? So we're talking about having sufficient sleep. Let's now talk about those who sleep too much. What is too much, and how dangerous is it to sleep too much?
Yes, sleeping too much. What we normally do is to assess and find out, is this person really sleeping too much? That's one. Then if the person is sleeping too much, then we find the cause, because there is a sleep disorder that the symptoms is excessive sleeping. So the person could have what we call the hypersomnia. In case of the sleep apnea, I spoke about, where the individual snores in the night and the sleep is not refreshing. Such an individual could be seen as somebody who is sleeping too much. But the problem is that the person is actually not sleeping well. At night, the person is seen lying on the bed snoring throughout the night, and people around him believe that, oh, this man is really sleeping. Then during the day, you find him trying to look for a place to sleep also. The problem is that the night sleep is not refreshing, is not good. So when we see people with complaint of excessive sleeping, what we do is we do what we call a sleep study. The person comes to our sleep laboratory. Then we first of all watch the sleep in the night. We put our gadgets and we'll do objective study and see the kind of sleep the person is having during the night. Then the following morning, we now continue and check how the person also sleeps. Then from there, we are able to make a diagnosis and classify the problem the person is having. Sleep, when it's too much, it affects the performance, the functioning of an individual. So it doesn't have to be too much.
Well, Doc, you have another question, but let me just quickly ask that you also address some other sleep disorders, i.e. insomnia, and those who sleepwalk. Is there any cure for it? And is there any spiritual implication, particularly to sleepwalking? And then I'll come with the question from one of our viewers.
Okay, if there's any, I didn't get that spiritual. Hello?
Go ahead, Doc.
Okay. Well, there are different types of sleep disorders. Like you said, the insomnia. Insomnia is when the individual is not having enough sleep. Then the opposite of that is hypersomnia. That is when the person is having excessive sleep. And there could be different causes. Then apart from that, there is something we call parasomnia. Parasomnias are the events that take place around sleep period. So one of these could be sleep talking, sleepwalking, or confusional arousal. What confusional arousal means is that an individual is sleeping, you wake the person, or the person just wakes up. The person is confused for some minutes or for some moment. He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know what he is doing. So then even there is sleep eating. Some people, while sleeping, they wake up, go out of bed, go and eat something, and at the point they are eating it, they don't really know what they are eating, and they go back to bed, sleep back, and in the morning, if you tell them they do this, they don't know. You understand? Although it's a rare type of sleep disorder, but all these put together, they are what are known as the parasomnias. The other group is breathing-related sleep disorder. One of the commonest one is the one we talked about, the sleep apnea. So the obstructive sleep apnea, where individual cannot breathe well while sleeping, or it could be because of obesity. The person is having a hypoventilation while sleeping. So that is another group. Then there are other groups where the individual is not able to sleep well because there is something we call the restless leg or syndrome. The person keeps moving the leg, This happens in old people or people with some neurological problems. So all this, the movement keeps the sleep fragmented.
Right.
There's also the nightmare sleep disorder, where the individual have a lot of nightmares in the night, and because of that is afraid to go back to sleep. That's even a condition where an individual is having a nightmare, and at that point is actually acting it out.
Right.
So the person sleeping beside that individual, you can understand what is happening in the dream world of that person.
Wow.
So as the person is talking in the dream, the person beside him is hearing it. You understand? So that's also another type of sleep.
You know, this conversation around sleep is really expansive, and I love the way you're walking us through the different possibilities. We have a lot of questions from you, from our viewers. Habib from Ojota is asking that. Okay, I think I lost that for a moment. Habib from Ojota, where's your question? Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
What is the effect of sleeping under a lighted space during the night? So there's always that conversation. Should I turn off the lights? Should I leave it on? Should I get colored lights, either blue or red or yellow? Does it change anything?
Yes. I spoke about the forces, the two major forces controlling our sleep. Well, I mentioned the sleep pressure and then the circadian rhythm, which is the biological clock. So the biological clock works with an aid of chemical that is produced in our body, which is melatonin. So melatonin, the way melatonin works is that in the evening, as the sun is going down, when every place is getting a bit dark, then the body starts secreting melatonin. So what happens is that at that point, if this individual is exposed to too much bright light, then the melatonin secretion may go down, which can affect sleep. So it's some people, we respond to light differently, but people that have challenges with sleep, most especially insomnia, if they are exposed to too much bright light during that sleep period, because of the effect of melatonin, they can lose their sleep. So what we do, part of the sleep hygiene, what can make people sleep better is around that time, you avoid exposing yourself, your eyes to screen, maybe your phone, your laptop. You should have a winding down time. You have your bedtime. You have time that, okay, you have to keep all these gadgets aside. Then the light in your room will be a bit dim, or you put it off. Because bright light can actually affect sleep because of the effect on the melatonin.
All right, doctor, let's another question from our viewer. This is what position is best when sleeping? Timothy from Ikorodu.
Okay, well, there's really no agreed answer to that. This is the particular position. But the people that will have to, it's an individual thing. One, people with snoring. One of the things is that it's better if they sleep by the sides rather than sleeping on their back. You understand? Okay. So then, So that's apart from that, there's really no problem.
So I can put my feet on the wall. Doctor, maybe I can put my feet on the wall. All those things mean in this.
In as much as you are comfortable. So that's why I say it's an individual thing, depending on which other medical condition the person is having.
Right.
For instance, people with heart problem, there's a particular heart problem that you have to prop up the head of the bed. So it depends. It depends on other medical conditions. But if there are no issue, you can sleep whichever way you like.
Well, that's a comic relief. Doc, those who have said to put their foot on the wall, they're known to travel in their sleep for some meetings.
Nollywood.
Yeah, one more question, Doc. This one is from Umar, and he says, Talking about enough sleep, sometimes you have what you think is enough sleep, but after some good breakfast and sitting in an air-conditioned room, example at a lecture, sleep seems almost inevitable. What would you say about this? Was the sleep not really enough, or have other factors come in? For instance, those who like amala in the morning or pounded yam in the morning, and after that, and they find themselves in an air-conditioned office, sleep claims them. Doc.
Okay, thank you. Yes, after a heavy meal, it's possible an individual feel drowsy because of a physiological process. When we eat, at that point, the focus of blood supply at that point is our stomach. So at that point, the blood going to the brain will be a bit reduced, which can cause what we call the postprandial drowsiness. So, but what happens is that even if you have such an experience, all you need is you can just put your head maybe on your table, just have a nap of like 10 to 20 minutes. If you had a good sleep, that should be able to keep you refreshed.
Yeah.
Rather than struggling with the sleep, you can just, if it's possible, just have a very short nap, like a what we call the power nap.
Right. I've seen some schools, I think in Japan, where students actually take a nap, during school. I don't know if workplaces allow that. I've seen that as well, but not the generality. But a couple of questions as we wind out. One more is about children and sleeping. Sometimes you find children up until 11 p.m. And I'm talking about children below 10. They are still playing, and you just hear parents say, well, that's my child. My child doesn't really like to sleep. So speak to us about children as well. What should be their sleeping pattern so that they can grow healthy and be productive?
Yes, the children maybe below the teenage age, they need longer sleep. And because they are children, they are under the guidance of people older than them, parents most of the time. And when you look, the major problem now is the issue of these appliances, electronic appliances, phone, iPad. These children get attached to this thing. And as I said earlier, exposure to light around that time for them disrupt the melatonin, which will make it difficult for them to go to sleep as quick as possible. Ideally, at that age, the children those are the group of people that need that 9 hours. But because of the environmental situation, like these technological factors, it may be difficult. I think it's the duty of the guardians to make sure that these children, all these gadgets are taken away from them as soon as possible, and they go to their bed so that they can have enough sleep. At least the under teenage years are those that really need that 9 hours sleep. Now, from there, moving to teenagers. There is a little bit of difference in teenagers. Most of the time, because of the social factors I mentioned, also then a change in their biological system, they tend to go to bed late. So they tend to go to a typical teenager could be awake till like 11, 12. Now, when you leave them alone, if you don't disturb them, they tend to sleep into the day more. So if you allow them, a typical teenager can sleep till like 9 a.m., but they won't go to sleep on time. So those are the differences.
Dr. Olajide Obembe, thank you so much. Dr. Olajide is a consultant psychiatrist and head of Sleep Disorders Unit, Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital in Yaba. Joined us via Zoom. Thank you so much for your insight and the perspective. And I wish we had time so that you give us who live in Lagos some level of a kit, because mobility in Lagos is quite high. I don't know how much sleep we do here. But thank you so much, Dr. Obembe.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Whoa. What a conversation.
Jeffrey.
Yes, indeed.
You're not simulating sleep.
No, I can't simulate.
no.
There's no time. No,
There's no
maybe
time.
there was time, but
Our
there's something called brave sleep. You know, they talked about it. You know, the one you're in
Well, our
church and you're
producer made up for it with that fantastic
yes,
video.
so
Yeah.
there's brave sleep, there's praise sleep, there are all kinds of sleep. I don't want to simulate it today, maybe some other time. But I love sleep, and I'm very sincere about it.
All right, that's how it's being on the show today. Follow Dr. Bimbi's advice. Sleep like a teenager tomorrow. Sleep to 9 a.m. And join us again same time next week when we bring you another round of editions. I am Bukola Koka.
And I'm Jeffrey Uzama.
Hey, stay pumped. You should sleep, but always stay energetic. I'm Kyle Kikili. Goodbye.
See you next week.